Good evening and welcome to the City Council meeting of August 17th, 2026. I ask that you all rise for the singing of our national anthem.
Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With flowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you to our very own Tennille Towns for the singing of our national anthem and to the marketing department for the images of our city. I'd now like to take this opportunity to read our land acknowledgement. The city respectfully acknowledges the Beaver, Cree, Dene, and Métis people as the original caretakers of these lands and surrounding areas. We are grateful to live, learn, work, and play on Treaty 8 territory within Turtle Island and acknowledge that these lands have been home to diverse and sovereign First Nations and Inuit nations since time immemorial. Moving to the adoption of the previous council minutes, item 4.1 on today's agenda, and I'm recognizing Councillor Bressie.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. I would move the council adopt the minutes of the City Council meeting held July 20th as presented.
Thank you for that. That motion is in order, so I'll call the question. Councillor Roger in favor, and that carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 5, the adoption of today's agenda, recognizing Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. I would like to move council adopt the agenda with the addition of item 7.2, public member appointments.
Great, so that motion is in order. I'll call the question. Please vote. Councillor Roger is in favor, and that carries unanimously. Moving to the delegation portion of today's meeting. For those of you who are at home watching online, we do have delegation portions at council meetings. We do ask that you fill out a simple form to let us know you're coming ahead of time. Today, we don't have an afternoon session. If you jumped on and wondered why we weren't there, we only have an evening session today. And with that, we have 2 groups that let us know ahead of time they are coming. First being group 6.1, the delegation from the Grande Prairie Live Theatre. So I'll ask that group to come forward. The microphones are on, so once you're situated, just pull them nice and close and you can get situated at the table and introduce yourself once you're ready to go. Welcome. Yeah, and it's not attached, so just pull it nice and close. Great, thank you.
Let me know if you can't hear me. Is that good?
That's great, yeah.
Okay. Right, good evening, Mayor Clayton and members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to have us come speak with you today. My name is Abby Webb. I'm the president of the Grande Prairie Live Theatre Society Board of Directors. Joining me today is John Roper, our newly hired general manager. John brings extensive experience in theatre management, budget recovery, fundraising, and grant development. We're excited to have him leading GPLT through our next chapter. Today, we want to speak with you about the financial challenges facing Grande Prairie Live Theatre, the actions we've already taken to address them, our plan moving forward, and the support we are requesting from council. GPLT has faced significant financial pressures over the last few years. As a result, we are currently carrying a deficit of approximately $83,000. I think it's important for us to explain how we arrived here. The deficit was not caused by a single event, but rather by the loss of several significant sources of revenue over a very relatively short period of time. Some of these examples include during a period of staffing transition, an annual grant application that GPLT had historically relied upon was not submitted. As a result, the organization lost approximately $51,000 in anticipated funding. We also lost a major contract that provided approximately $60,000 annually in wage recovery funding. Although that revenue stream disappeared, the position it supported at the theater remained necessary to our operations, creating a substantial gap in our budget. In addition, a large event moved away from using GPLT's ticketing services and elected to manage ticket sales independently, resulting in a further loss of approximately $50,000 in revenue. Collectively, these changes and many more removed more than $160,000 in revenue from our organization. While we have worked hard to adapt, these losses created a financial gap that could not be absorbed without significant operational changes. The board has worked diligently to ensure we remain operational while we implement a recovery plan. We currently have a $90,000 GIC that has allowed us to continue meeting our obligations. However, that reserve is nearly exhausted. If our deficit continues to grow, we will soon no longer have the cash flow required to meet payroll and other essential operating expenses. Without immediate assistance, we face the very real possibility of interrupting programming, canceling productions, and jeopardizing the theater's ability to continue operating. We recognize the seriousness of the situation, and I want council to know that we have not been waiting for outside help before taking action ourselves. So, what have we done so far? Over the past several months, we've implemented a number of cost-saving and revenue-generating measures. We have reduced staffing and eliminated positions that were not essential to operations. We reviewed and adjusted ticket pricing to ensure we are maximizing revenue opportunities while continuing to offer affordable access to live theater in Grande Prairie. We added additional matinee performances for popular productions to increase ticket revenue. The board has assumed responsibility for sponsorship development and fundraising efforts to ensure those activities continue while staff can focus on day-to-day operations. Finally, we recruited and hired a new general manager with a demonstrated history of balancing budgets, securing grants, developing innovative revenue streams, and leading theater organizations through financial challenges. These were difficult but necessary decisions, and they demonstrate our commitment to responsible stewardship of the organization. What are we working on next? We know our work is far from finished. We will continue reviewing staffing and operations to ensure the organization is operating as efficiently as possible while relying more heavily on volunteers where appropriate. We are developing new programming opportunities that are inexpensive to deliver, but have strong potential to attract new audiences and participants, such as families and youth. We will continue expanding high-demand offerings such as matinee performances. We're exploring opportunities to provide ticketing services and partner with festivals and community events throughout Grande Prairie and Northern Alberta. We also have a casino fundraiser planned for 2027, and under John's leadership, we will be actively pursuing grants that GPLT has historically accessed, while also identifying and applying for new grant opportunities. We believe these initiatives will put GPLT on a sustainable path forward, but they require time to produce results. Council, GPLT is more than a performance venue. For over 6 decades, we have provided opportunities for local actors, youth, volunteers, technicians, and community members to learn, create, and connect. The impact of GPLT extends beyond the stage and contributes to the cultural vitality of our city. Today, we are asking Council for 2 forms of support. First, we require immediate assistance of $25,000 to stabilize our operations and ensure we can continue meeting our financial obligations, including payroll and ongoing programming commitments through August. Second, we recognize that Council may not be able to address the full deficit immediately. We are therefore asking Council to consider additional support in September to help eliminate the remaining deficit while our operational changes and revenue-generating initiatives begin to take effect. This request is not about avoiding difficult decisions. We've already made many of those decisions and will continue to do so. This request is about preserving a valued community institution while we implement a clear and practical recovery plan. The reality is that an organization cannot cut its way out of a deficit this size overnight. The challenge before us is that we must both address the existing deficit and continue producing the shows and programs that generate revenue. Without support, every dollar raised goes toward past losses rather than investing in the city's or in the theater's future. We need immediate support to eliminate the deficit, stabilize operations, and ensure GPLT can continue serving the community while our recovery plan takes effect. If GPLT were forced to close its doors, rebuilding the volunteers, audiences, partnerships, and community trust developed over the decades would be extraordinarily difficult. The cultural loss to our community would be significant. We respectfully ask for Council's partnership and support so that Grande Prairie Live Theatre can continue serving our community for many years to come. Live theatre cannot be rebuilt overnight once it is lost. With your support, GPLT can continue serving our community and preserving an important part of Grande Prairie's cultural landscape. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and your continued support of arts and culture in Grande Prairie. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Thanks for your presentation, and I'll open it up to Council for questions. First in the queue, Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. I have a handful of questions, but I'll ask two quick ones, and then I'll let somebody else jump in the queue. So the $51,000 grant, was that the AFA?
Yes, that was the AFA grant.
And there's no way to appeal that?
Not that we are aware.
Okay, all right.
But we did apply for that. We got it in on time this year, so we are expecting that to come in this fall.
Oh, this fall, okay. And then, John, Abby really talked very highly of you. Would you mind giving us a brief CV, please?
Sure, yeah. I spent 12 years as general manager for the Phoenix Theatre in Fort Nelson, British Columbia. That's within the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. As some of you might be aware, it's a very large municipality. It takes up about 10% of the province. Fort Nelson and the municipality had experienced a severe decline in the economic activity and a loss of a lot of workforce. So we had to make a lot of changes to keep arts and culture alive in Fort Nelson. And so I have quite a bit of experience revitalizing arts and culture centers. I also did about a year at the Leicester Centre of the Arts in Prince Rupert. And we, together with the board, we worked through COVID. And we actually did programming throughout COVID, and were able to adapt and adjust and get the organization back up and running. So that's a general overview of some of the things I've done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I had a couple questions until other people get in the queue. The grant that Councillor Berg referenced, so you missed the deadline. You've got it in this time. You're expecting that it's going to be awarded shortly. But you mentioned the timing. So you lost a major contract as well as a ticketing contract. Tell me the timing between sort of those three significant impacts.
So the AFA grant should have been applied for spring of 2025, and then I'm not sure exactly what month it would have been awarded. Let's say about 6 months after. The contract we lost ended in February 2026, so that was for that wage recovery. That was around $60,000. And what was the third one? The ticketing. That one actually happened about 3 years ago. So essentially, a lot of organizations that GPLT previously sold tickets for realized they could also use the platform and sell their own tickets, and kudos to them because they are supporting their own events. So really proud of them for doing that, but that was also a big hit that I think we were adjusted to in our revenues to be getting in every year.
So I guess seeing that timing, starting about 3 years ago, and then 25 and 26, the changes that you made to sort of stop that, significant loss happening. You said you you made some changes in regards to maximizing revenues and sponsorships, donations. Can you tell me some of the actual things that you did? What kind of increases have you seen in fundraising? Have you seen, minus the significant deficit you're currently in, how are you seeing growth in revenue?
So I think specific to your question about the donations and sponsorship or fundraising and sponsorship, that was something that was kind of changed in the structure of the theater as they took on more management duties outside. So it had branched off and kind of fallen to the side for a while. The theater also has gone through, just in the last 18 months, quite a bit of staff transition or turnover and board turnover. So there hasn't been a lot of consistency there. The board in the last few months has decided to take the helm and say, we will take on the sponsorship campaigns, the fundraising campaigns, because this is something the staff have not been able to do for the last several years. So it's something that was very important to the board. So we have countless volunteers that have been working with us to sort of get back into that, try and recreate some of those sponsors that used to be supporters, big longtime supporters of the theater, that have not had the opportunity in the last year, given all of the theater's transitions, to be sponsors.
So the queue is filling up, but just on that same vein, I'll ask, do you have any wins? Can you tell me about changes you made? Have you increased the ticketing price so you've seen some revenue? Do you have any small wins? It seems like there's quite a period of time you were losing revenue, and then changes within the organization and your governance. But where are you seeing some wins?
Yeah, for ticketing, we recently spoke about that at length and have decided to go back to a former ticketing prices, which is higher, but still offers some rates for students and seniors. So we're trying to cultivate that sense of community while remaining at a level of ticketing pricing that Grande Prairie has formerly been used to. We changed our season ticket prices, so we just ended early bird prices, and now we're starting full price season tickets. So trying to make those little wins where we can in our revenue. Okay. And summer is also very hard because we don't have programming.
For sure.
For 3 months, yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Bressie.
So speaking of summer, I'm curious about cash flow. I know that there's some immediate cash flow concerns. Can you explain to me how the timing of cash flow happens for a season in terms of when are you taking on some of your major expenses and when do you start seeing revenue from a season?
I think the revenue, so they start selling season tickets over the summer, and then that continues through the fall. And then obviously for every show that we put on, we get money. So let's say monthly, that would generate some ticketing revenue. We also do still support many other events and community programs that happen where we sell tickets for them. So we generate revenue by selling their tickets, if that makes sense. We get a percentage of each ticket. We rent out the theater for special groups. So there's a wine club, there's special private events that happen. The Ukrainian choir comes in. So different avenues. We have summer camps that go on through the summertime.
But in terms of the season itself and your core operations, you're going to start having ticket revenue in the fall for your core season. When do you pay for rights? When do you pay for those?
I see.
What's the cash flow of expenses?
Yes. So many of our rights need to be prepaid. So every 2 years we have a big musical. This happens to be a year that we're putting on a big musical in February. Those rights had to be paid for in April. So we were lucky enough to have somebody provide us with a contract where they would pay for the rights for that program upfront, but then we still have to pay that back. So that is a one-time event that we've done. We've never done that before. And honestly, if that didn't come up, we would have had to be here months and months ahead of the game. Some of our shows, the rights get paid directly after the show ends. So it's based on how many productions we have, how many people we have that show up in the theater, and some are paid just ahead. Yep. So there's some that are paid up for the year and some that still need to be paid.
Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Thank you for coming in and doing this. I know it must have been very hard for you to do this, having been a past chair of Grande Prairie Live Theatre many days ago. We don't want to mention when. I'm just curious about your governance structure and what plans are you putting in place to be able to make sure that your bylaws are up to date. And so I know that's probably not been on your agenda lately, but I'm just wondering if you put any thoughts to that.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question. We actually hammered through our bylaws and policies quite a bit in the spring, worked through that. Our policies are constantly being looked at and reviewed. Our bylaws are going through another rigorous look over before AGM next month to find sort of some of those loopholes that need to be updated again. So yeah, we have been definitely looking at those.
Okay,
and our governance structure, we've also had a volunteer come and speak with our board and work with our board and do some one-on work with me, as well as our former manager, to try and get us to a good level of where we are. And I've done a lot of board training as well over the last few months.
Yeah. It's important to have that continuity of leadership at the board level. So I'm hopeful that if you have a vice chair coming in, that they don't get voted off the board from the floor. And consistency is very important.
Absolutely. I can't agree more.
Thank you.
Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. Quick comment. It is reassuring to see Wayne Ailing in the building supporting you, no doubt. I know Wayne ran the organization for quite some time, and it was very stable. I'm not saying everything was always perfect. I'm not familiar, but like any organization, there's always highs and lows. And obviously, this organization is going through a low period right now. So it's good to see you're tapping into some of Wayne's knowledge there. One of the things that you'd never touched on in your presentation, but you just touched on it lightly, was venue rentals, because I know in my past I've been involved with a handful of soft seat concerts or fundraisers. You hadn't mentioned that. Is that something that you're actively pursuing or promoting?
Yeah, absolutely. We will be looking for new ways to use the space. So, I mean, if council chooses to make this investment in GPLT, please know that we understand the responsibility that comes with it, and we will treat those funds with the care and accountability that you expect from every public dollar. And I understand that responsibility personally as a current two-year regional councillor with the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality, a role I'll be completing when my term ends this fall. I've sat on your side of the table. And I know how carefully decisions involving public funds have to be considered and how important it is to be able to demonstrate to the people we serve that those investments are responsible and accountable and ultimately create value for the community. And that's why our goal isn't simply to just get through the next few months. It's to use the stability that this funding provides as a bridge to something stronger and more sustainable. We're going to be pursuing new grants and looking for opportunities to leverage this investment into additional funding. But we also need to diversify through new programming, creative use of the space, more rentals, and increased fundraising activities. And fundraising isn't just a challenge for GPLT. Nonprofits and community organizations throughout Grande Prairie are looking for creative ways to raise money and engage their communities. We have a beautiful facility, technical expertise, ticketing infrastructure, talented performers and volunteers, and the ability to create unique experiences. And I would like to put those assets to work for the broader community. And my hope is that when an organization in Grande Prairie thinks about their next fundraiser, benefit, or community event, that GPLT is the first place they think of, and not simply as a venue to rent, but as a partner where we can help them make it successful. And if we can help other organizations support their causes, introduce new people to GPLT, and generate revenue that's helped sustain the theater at the same time, everybody wins. And that's the kind of thinking I want to bring to our recovery efforts, making better use of what we already have, doing more with less, and building stronger partnerships and creating value for the entire community. And Abby mentioned that I'm the new GM. Today is actually my first day. Couldn't have imagined.
Welcome.
Thank you. I couldn't have imagined being, in front of council asking for emergency funding, but I can't think of a better introduction to the organization. And I've spent today learning about some of the challenges in front of us, but more importantly, meeting the people who care deeply about this theater and just seeing how much potential is there.
Yeah, thanks. So Abby, I've seen your upcoming schedule quite a few times over the last couple of weeks. So you're using social media to market.
Yes.
Typically, what do your advanced ticket sales or your season ticket sales account for your revenue? And is it in these next few months or next few weeks, or are you hoping to see, or traditionally have you seen an injection of cash flow due to season ticket sales?
Yeah, absolutely. There are lots of annual season ticket holders that come along. Many of the ones who've been around for several years will probably have bought their tickets already, but we will still see more season ticket holders trickling in, and then it would be the single ticket buyers that come in after that. I think we do get a lot of our revenue as well from grants from various places, including the City of Grande Prairie, which we've also applied for, and the AFA grant is another big one. Typically, we basically get enough revenue in a year to pay our operating costs. So we're not making anything off of this. We're paying our staff and showing everybody a good time at the end of the night. Everybody else is volunteers that you see on stage and behind the scenes. So
I guess what I'm indirectly implying is that you're in a bit of a cash crunch and you're selling season tickets. So it would be wonderful if your members and supporters would get out and buy these season tickets.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Thanks for coming in and welcome to your first day. Not the easiest start, but I'm just curious when you were talking about ticket pricing earlier. Just trying to gauge where the community goes with that. So how do you gauge your prices? Is it off local things? Is it going? What is Red Deer charging? What is Medicine like? I'm just kind of curious how you guys would figure out your ticket pricing.
Yeah, see, Wayne, our former manager, would be able to tell historically what was done. I think I wasn't on the board last year to tell you how exactly those prices were determined. This year, we did look around at all sorts of similar sized venues throughout BC and Alberta to see how they are pricing tickets. But then eventually we went back to, so what the board really wanted to do was lower ticket prices, thinking that would be a great way to encourage people to come to the theater. And while I'm not opposed to that idea of having, more people eligible to come to the theater, this just wasn't the right year to be able to lower those prices. So in the end, we decided to cap that as our early bird prices and then go back to last year's ticket prices, because we did have a lot of turnout last year. People are adjusted to paying those prices already. So we didn't feel at this time it was the right year financially for the theater for us to even consider lowering ticket prices.
And just what's like a normal attendance of it? Like about 200 seats there. Like what's your normal attendance? Like would you sell out most nights? Would you get 50% turnout? Like what would be a normal?
It's a great question. I think it depends on the day of the week and the type of show that you're seeing. Our theater holds 163-ish seats. And I would say we would suspect the average to be 90. So some of those shows would be sellouts and some would be a lot lower than that. Our big production that I mentioned earlier, we do it in tandem with NWP every second February. So their theater is closer to 500 seats in that hall, and that can often be a sellout on many of the evenings or matinee performances that we have as well.
Okay. No, appreciate you trying to hold rates. It's probably not really easy to do in this world. And if there's value in the product you're doing, you have to charge for it. And so hopefully you can have the confidence to charge the rates that you need to make your facility work. So that you're not sitting here to look for money from that. So thanks. Thank you.
Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton, and thank you very much, Ms. Webb, for coming in and speaking on behalf of GPLT. Mr. Roper, welcome to our community. I'm sure you'll find it's one of the best places in the entire world to live. So part of me, if I'm the one that brings gravity into the conversation, sometimes you have to ask hard questions, and all my other questions got asked. So right now we're looking for a short-term financial infusion to help us get us back on our feet. While we're still projecting a deficit for 2027, so there's a little bit of a mountain to climb there. So the gravity I speak of is, let's say after today, this council chooses not to fund the immediate or the larger amount of funds to GPLT. What does that look like for the organization at this point?
If we don't get the money from the city immediately, we will have to shut our doors. We will not be able to cover wages for this month. And then hopefully once the next grant comes in, we would be able to start up again. But we would definitely be closing down our doors and shutting down, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
How long would that temporarily be? Like, are we talking October, November, January?
I don't know the specifics on the grant funding and what months things are expected, so it's hard to speak specifically, but I would say it could be a couple of months or it could be a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the current rate, we're not making it to the end of this month, and we're right on the cusp of when we, stop making payroll, stop paying the payroll taxes. That's when the fines come in. That's when the pad withdrawals start to bounce back. That's when our problems get a lot worse. So we're right at the cusp of that situation. We've waited as long as we could, and today, my first day, is the day that we had to come and ask for your help, and we really need it. So.
We've tried deferring payments as much as we can as well, so that is helping, and the communities that we've had to work with have been very understanding. So we've tried to do as much as we can to sort of offset some costs to later in the fall.
I can see a lot of that work has been done, and speaking with administration, I think we've heard that too. Sorry for bringing in the heaviness, but I thought the question needed to be asked so that everyone understood where the GPLT was at. Thank you.
It's an important question. Thank you.
Councillor O'Toole.
I got another tough one. Have you paid CRA?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the service? I'm going to say yes, because I haven't seen that not being paid.
Okay, fair enough. So, rights for plays,
Yep.
have they gone up, gone down? Are they pretty stable? Or any particular play or like Disney or somebody like that? Is it pretty straightforward every year, or is they up and down?
I think it depends on the value of the dollar. Most of our plays we're paying in US dollars. So then it depends on what the economy is doing. Our large play this year was close to $32,000 Canadian. Some of our other plays are closer to $5,000.
But you've been aware of that for many years, and you know that this one's going to be a lot more. We need to have more seats. So that's when you negotiate with Northwest Polytech?
Yeah, we actually have an agreement with them where they lend us the theater for the 5 weeks or however many weeks we need it for that pre-rehearsal period, and then our 3-week production run. And then after we take out all of the charges that we've paid, all the expenses to put into the show, then we divide the revenue between us and the college. So that would include our rates to the show.
Okay. And local entertainers, have you tried to book venue? Like, have anybody looked to book your venue to
Yeah.
put on something that's going to draw people in?
I can't speak to that specifically, as I'm not the manager, and John just started.
It's my first day.
Yeah, it's his first day. We have been talking about different items that we want to, different events that we want to put on to draw in some crowds. There's a local band or several bands playing this weekend that are renting out the theater to put on their performances. Part of John's theater that he was doing in Fort Nelson involved film. So I'm trying to use that and buffer that with our community, maybe put on some special film afternoons for children and families to come in. I brought my family, where that would be a really fun thing. John has some really innovative ideas. I don't know if I should spill the beans on some of them today or let you guys wait and see what that would look like. But at this point, we have pulled aside our schedule last week and seen where all of the slots, empty slots, are in the calendar where we could possibly rent out the venue or put on a new event that Grande Prairie has not seen previously.
Okay. So something that's no longer in Grande Prairie anymore was the Real Shorts Film Festival.
Yes.
And
we talked about that.
That brought a lot of people in, and schools and all that kind of stuff. So Anyhow, those are my questions. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you.
I just had a couple questions. You mentioned, this didn't happen overnight. There's been a period of time that you've been losing revenue. You have a strong following in the community, and I'm wondering how you're simply reaching out to your members, fundraising initiatives, not restructuring ticketing prices,
Right.
et cetera, but tell me how corporate fundraising is going.
It's going well, but it's been very slow. Sorry, not very slow. It's just getting its way. We are having our only second official meeting this coming week, but lots of initiatives in the works. We focused a lot more on our sponsorships, developed our brand new sponsorship package, and we have a couple very keen members who have been out hitting up businesses, trying to engage them in sponsoring the theater. So like I said, up until last year, we had some great legacy sponsors who sponsored the theater for many, many years. And unfortunately, that stopped last year with some of our staffing transition. And we are hoping to build those bridges again and regain the trust of those sponsors and use them in our theater.
Well, I guess, where I'm going with that question is just as much as you're asking here today, asking council for money, have you gone and asked these traditional large corporate sponsors who've been there for many years for some support?
Yes, we have a committee working on that.
Okay. And it doesn't mention it in the request, but I'm assuming your request is an ask for a loan, or are you just asking for us to write you a check?
I guess I hadn't even considered that before 10 minutes before you guys opened the doors today. I think, and Councillor O'Connor, you can maybe attest to this if you were around at that time in GPLT. So about 22 years ago, the theater was also in the same type of position, and changed managers at the time to try and help the theater out of a debt situation. And they approached council at the time. And it's interesting because the numbers in the deficit in 20 plus years ago are very similar to the deficit that we're seeing today. And just another wild story of just very interesting, unique situations that transpired over a short period of time that we're seeing, that we also saw in this last sort of couple of years. And the city was able to sponsor the theater at that time as well.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Platt, you're out of the queue. You're good. Okay. Well, thank you. That's all the questions I see for now. And just so you understand the process, we do have regular business that we will take care of. At the end of the meeting is when we have an opportunity to ask administration and see what information council is missing in order to make any decisions. So you're more than welcome to stick around and listen. We don't have a huge agenda today, but if you want to leave, you will be contacted from administration.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Welcome to Grande Prairie.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
All right, moving on to item 6.2 in today's agenda, the Center for Creative Arts. And same routine. Come forward, please, and introduce yourselves. Take about 5 minutes or so to address council, and then council may have questions for you. And welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Clayton and council, for making time for us. I'd like to introduce you to our new executive director. He's been here for a month and a day. Marco Keller. He will be talking to you why we're here again today.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Thank you to the council. Thank you for seeing us. The Center for Creative Arts is experiencing an urgent short-term cash flow and an operating funding crisis resulting from significant financial and organizational challenges. During the past year, the organization experienced the loss of its charitable status, which has substantially reduced the number and type of grants and funding opportunities for which the CFCA is currently eligible. As a result, the center has temporarily lost access to a significant portion of funding that has historically supported its operations. At the same time, the current board faced significant outstanding financial obligations and unpaid invoices that had accumulated prior to the transition in leadership. The organization is actively addressing these obligations, strengthening financial oversight and internal controls, and rebuilding its funding capacity. However, these circumstances have created an immediate gap between available operating revenue and the cost required to maintain the center throughout the remainder of 2026. Emergency funding would provide essential short-term operating stability while CFCA transitions to the new executive leadership, me, and works to rebuild the sustainable revenue sources. Funds would be used towards essential operating expenses, staffing, facility and occupancy costs, program delivery, outstanding operating obligations, and other necessary costs required to keep the center open and providing services to the community. This funding would serve as a bridge during a period of organizational transition and stabilization, allowing the CFCA to maintain operations and community programming while it rebuilds the grant eligibility, sponsorships, fundraising capacity, earned revenue, and other sustainable sources of income. Without emergency funding, CFCA would be at significant risk of reducing or suspending essential programs and services during the remainder of 2026. This could include the reduction or cancellation of our Healing Arts Initiative program, classes, and workshops, our youth and adult programming, community arts initiatives, exhibitions and artist opportunities, and the availability of CFCA's facilities for rentals and community use. As Sean mentioned, I just came on board just over a month ago, a month and a little bit. I'm a big believer in the center. I do think there is amazing potential in the center. I have been a manager and I've run my own business for over 30 years. I've been a manager for 30 years. I've run my own business for 12 over the years. I think the center has amazing potential. My background 100 years ago, I took hospitality management, and I see the center almost like a hotel in that we have these studios, these rooms available to be used, and they haven't been used all the time. If you lose a night, if you don't have a class going on that evening or an event going on that evening, that is lost income. So I am working very hard to double, if not triple, the amount of courses available so that we can get more income. I know the board is working on repairing the loss of our charitable status. We are looking at getting sponsors as well, but until the charitable status is reinstated, it's very hard to get sponsorship. I've looking at also doubling the amount of events and fundraisers we're looking at, and I've also studied the similar centers across Canada in similar sized cities, and we're going to be looking at bringing our membership fee in line with those cities. I think our membership right now is very low. We're not going to go make it unreasonable for people, but I do think our membership should be more. And then just our marketing. I still think half of Grande Prairie, if not more, does not even know that we exist. I know that when I moved here 17 years ago, it was probably 3 or 4 years before I found out about the center. And the only reason I found out was because a friend bought me a class. So I do think that with additional marketing, more of an online presence, we will get the word out there and things will improve. But that all takes time, and we don't have the funds to bridge that. Even the courses that are starting in September, it'll be a little bit before the income starts. So we need the help to make it through so that we can finish 2026 successfully.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. I'll open it up to council for questions. Recognizing Councillor Palat.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton, and thanks for coming in, guys, to chat about this today. I'm just, for me, a couple things just looking through your programming. You guys do offer a lot of programming. Yeah. Is it similar amount of program that you've ran in the past? Like the amount of programs that are being currently ran?
That's part of my job. Is I find that the last few years things have been a little stagnant, so they've been offering the same 4 or 5 core sort of arts, and as I said, I'm looking at doubling at least doubling what we're offering. It's really been drawing, painting, pottery, fiber arts, and soapstone. I've been talking to people for a whole bunch of additional arts. We find a lot of the arts that we carry are very female-centric, so we're trying to offer some more male-centric arts. Wood burning, and not to be sexist, but wood burning, fishing lures. Can't think of it off the top of my head, but there are more arts that we're offering that will bring in, I think, additional people. And I know even myself, when I came to the center the first time, I came for a pottery class, but then I found out all the other things that were available. So if we can get them into the door once, hopefully we can get them into more things. So we're getting back into the arts that they had done in the past and to bring in some new ones as well.
Okay. And just one other one, Mayor Clayton. Currently, how much like full-time, part-time staff would the center have?
So currently, there was turnover. So right now, besides myself, I have 4 part-timers.
Part-timers, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. And actually, just building on that, with some of that staffing turnover, are any of them on sick leave and you're still paying them one way or another, or they've resigned?
That's all finished.
So by percentage ballpark, your courses, what is that as part of your annual revenue? And maybe that's something more for Sean.
Our annual revenue for operating annual.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious what that would be, because again, he's saying that the plan might be to triple it. What numbers are we looking at?
You can see in the projection there, like if we're doing what we're currently doing, it's about 30, we're projecting about 35,000 in there. Off the top of my head, I don't recall the numbers of our annual operating.
Okay.
The shortage here we're asking is funding that we previously got through other means, which we can't get right now. So,
yeah. So what was your AFA loss?
About 80,000.
Okay. And then also in your revenue projections, from what I understand, a couple of former employees have actually set up competition against the Center for Creative Arts. Have you guys analyzed any potential impact from that?
We've looked at some of it. I think the community is big enough to support all, and we're even talking to some of them as well. It's not like a vicious competition. We're working together because we can offer different things, because
they're limited in what they can offer, and we can offer things that they can't offer, and they can offer things that we can't offer. So
they have target audiences, and we can fill the gaps in between that too as well. So,
okay, thanks, and I'll step out of the queue.
Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton, and thank you very much. Nice to see you again, Mr. Keller and Mr. Trotsky. Just a question, building upon Councillor Palat and Councillor Berg's comments. It's to my awareness that typically throughout the summer was pretty good for programs at the Center for Creative Arts as far as revenue generation strictly from the Center for Creative Arts. Just a question on your programs this summer. How has enrollment been, and have you managed to retain a full slate of classes?
Again, I just started in July, so I sort of came to the table late. To my knowledge, things were fairly similar to what it's been previous years. But one of my goals is for next year is, especially our summer camps, is to really increase our summer camp program. From what I saw this year, it did fairly well, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think it could be done a lot more to help increase our business in the summer, because, I mean, the rest of the arts that go on in the summer, this is Grande Prairie things. The city empties out in the summer, so not as much happens in the summer. But I do think, especially an area like summer camps, can definitely be increased, and that will bring in more money to the center.
Yeah, our summer camps are comparable from previous years too. It's doing well. So
thank you. May I ask another question? So one of the questions that I have here, it's a pretty big one, and you guys mentioned it in your presentation as well. It's around the charitable status of the Center for Creative Arts. When did the center lose its charitable status?
July last year.
And so has the Center for Creative Arts endeavored to try to, I know we're remediating it now, but why is the process taking so long?
The board wasn't made aware of it until September of that same year. And then we had started processes. So a lot of it was through reporting, and it's just catching up on years of reporting and doing that. We've done that now. We've had to jump through some other loops with corporate registries with Alberta government to get some things updated there. And update today is, it looks like they've accepted everything. So we have the last piece that we can now go back to CRA and do it. We've been in close contact with them. We'll be following up with them tomorrow. And they know the situation we are in, and to fast track that. So we were projecting before, and we're still projecting that September we should have our CRA status reinstated, or new, I guess.
Okay, no, thank you for that. Just a supplemental to that. Typically, most not-for-profit organizations have AGMs on the annual, and they undergo an audit. Wouldn't an audit have picked up the lapsing charitable status?
That's where it was picked up.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. I'm just reading through some of the information we were given, and just to build on Councillor Berg had asked a little bit, but I'm just trying to understand on the revenue side, how much it comes from programming. I know we're talking about grants and we're talking about casinos in the future and that, but how much revenue is actually created from all the programming that comes through the door? Or if it would be nice, a couple numbers would be helpful for me, is how much revenue, and then just potentially how many enrollments was there over the course of the year. Like, have we seen 5,000 people through the building, 500 people through the building? Just kind of give me a sense of scale of how utilized the facility is.
Well, I think if you look at the numbers, so if we're looking September to December, we're talking 35,000. So then that is September. That's a quarter. So again, then the winter will have 2 more quarters. So technically 3 quarters throughout the year. Let's say 3 or 4 cycles throughout the year. So to me, I would triple or quadruple that number. So anywhere.
105 to 140 kind of
Yes,
thing is kind of revenue from the programming
Sorry,
side.
is that dollars or people through the door?
Dollars.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So about 105 to 125, 40,000, somewhere in that range is
Yes.
what we would collect in programming fees over the course of the year. Would you happen to know how many bodies come in through all the different programs over the year?
I have a number somewhere. Just 1 second. Sorry, I just have to dig that up. So students in programs this year to date was 850.
Okay.
So that's just, again, that's up until now. So add another quarter onto that.
Okay. And so just to clarify, I'm just trying to go back. So if I'm looking at the overall revenue, only about 20 to 25% comes from programming, and most of it's through grants or other streams. Okay, thank you.
I'm just going to follow up on Councillor Plott's questions before I go to the others in the queue. So I also just want to have a better understanding. So, and if you don't have this information, that's fine. I think you'll see some questions come from administration out of your presentation. But so 850 students approximately annually through the door.
Only until now. So there's still the last quarter to add to that.
Okay.
So that'll put it
So let's
over.
call it 1,100, 1,200 people annually.
Fair enough.
Okay. And then other revenue is when you do your temporary rentals, etc.
Yes. That too, we're working on increasing in advertising.
Okay. So total revenue that's not grant revenue is what? So I'm like not what a student pays, not what you get from the city, not what you get from other grants, including rental of space and rental of signing someone up for a camp. How much is that total revenue?
To include the programs or not to include the programs?
All programming and all rentals.
All programming and all rentals.
So no grants, including the city.
And including fundraisers in that as well?
Sure.
Okay. I apologize. I don't have the number in front of me, but I'm making an educated guess among the 300,000 range.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. So your operating hours are from 9 till 5 kind of thing, or is there any evening courses?
Yes, that's where the big part is, the evening courses. And actually part of what I'm doing is extending the evenings. We were closed Sundays and Friday evenings. I'd like to reopen for Friday evenings. Friday evenings, we're going to get back into the craft and cocktail nights. People can come just do a craft just for the night and enjoy, because we are licensed, so we'll be doing craft and cocktails on Fridays, plus offering some courses Fridays. And then as far as Sundays go, I already have a couple instructors signed up for some Sunday courses because not everyone can make it during the week. So yeah, currently until the end of August, it's till 8 o'clock Monday to Thursday, and we're open Saturdays just 11 to 4. But that will change come September.
I got about 3 or 4 questions if I can ask them, and then.
How about you have one more, and then I'll come back to the other people in the queue. Perfect. Thank you.
Do you know where the students come from? Are they all Grande Prairie residents? Do you have anybody from the MD at Greenview? Anybody from the county?
I don't have percentages, but I do know we attract from outside of the city. Because I do know we've had people drive in for a few hours to come to attend certain courses.
Do you know if it's a big number or a tiny small?
It's a small number from the county and the MD of Greenview. But we do receive small grants again from them as well. Okay. To provide them those numbers to justify it. So.
Used up my questions now, so we can move on.
You can definitely get back in the queue.
Okay.
Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. So this will be a bit of a tough question. I really want to gauge the stability of the organization. Again, in all fairness, you've got a brand new executive director. Seems great. He's got some plans. That's wonderful. But have you had your AGM yet this year?
We have not. It's coming up.
And when is that?
We're projecting it for October 1st. We just finished our financials and finals and got it all signed off. So.
And can I just make one little comment in there? I asked them to stay on for September just because September is Culture Month, and I have a lot of events planned for September, and I'd like people with experience to help me out.
Sure.
So I did kind of push them to stay for September.
Okay. Yeah, so with that AGM coming up October 1st, I know that when the former executive director departed, there was quite an uprising, for lack of a better word, from some community members. And has that quieted down a lot at all, or is there concern of significant board change?
It has quieted down since Marco has come on board. I think everyone's looking to see what he's going to do. So the current board is doing everything we can to facilitate and support him and get a good base for him to run into the fall programming.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you again, Mayor Clayton, and thank you one more time, gentlemen. I have just one more question for you here. You mentioned at the top of your presentation that without the funding, you may have to cancel or cut certain programs. To date, in dealing with this transition, lack of charitable status and funds, have you had to cut or cancel any programs at the center currently?
we've had to cut back a great deal with Happy, just because we haven't had the stability. I am speaking with a new instructor for that, with a Bachelor of Education, and she'll be coming in to handle that program. And I've also reached out to a counseling center, and they will give her some additional training and support to help with the program, because I think it's an important program to keep running. It's just, yes, over the summer, not much has happened with the program, just with all the changes that have been going on.
How many programs are currently running right now at the center?
Define program, like.
Well, let's say your pottery classes, are they running at original capacity?
Oh yeah. So the currently the pottery class is going on as normal. The sewing classes, she's been filling up as normal. The painting and drawing, they've all been running normally. So.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor O'Toole.
Hey, I made it back in. Thanks very much. Like all small organizations, big organizations, sometimes what comes in the door isn't enough. Have you thought or planned any fundraisers in the past or future?
I've looked at what they've done in the past, and as I said, even for September, I'm doubling what they've done previously. I've introduced at least two more on top of what normally goes on, and I'm planning out the whole year to at least do, besides our art openings, or we're adding at least another event or two every month, except for summer. Again, summer and Grande Prairie. But for the rest of the year, we've got some big plans, which I'm not going to discuss yet because they're not public yet. But we're definitely working on a lot more fundraisers. When I was hired, one of the things I discussed was, the nature of government, the nature of the world right now. Everyone's cutting back, and the funding we get and greatly appreciate from the city, I know that there may come a time when it has to be less or not at all. So I would like the center to get to the point where it can be relatively self-sustainable. And to that end, we're also looking at lots of sponsorships. But until we get our charitable status back, that's kind of on hold at the moment. But we do already have one of the board members has some businesses lined up who are willing to sponsor us once everything is ready to go.
Yeah, don't ignore those.
No.
Sponsorship is good.
Yes, no, it's.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, that appears to be all the questions. So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And as I mentioned, a little bit later on in the budget, or in the agenda rather, we will have a conversation and an opportunity to ask administration some questions. So thank you for being here. You're welcome to stick around, or someone from administration will follow up with you after this meeting.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, the agenda, item number 7, under reports. First, we're going to move to 7.1, and I'll turn that one over to the CAO for introduction.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Residents have many ways to raise issues with council, including coming as a delegation, as well as the petition process. On July 16th, we had residents of Mission appear as a delegation who brought forward of concerns regarding a city project in their neighborhood. At the same time, at that meeting, they did submit a formal petition. According to the MGA, the city manager has 45 days to verify the petition and report back to council. And so that's what I'm doing here tonight. I have reviewed the names on the petition, and there is insufficient for it to be declared as a official petition, according to the MGA. The delegation was here, and council considered their concerns and passed a motion to receive his information. But there's no further action based on the number of signatures that were in this petition, which was 14. Required is 10% of the population, which would be just north of 7,000. And so I declare this petition insufficient and would ask council to receive this for information.
All right, so an opportunity for questions, and if not, looking for the business that would be arriving, recognizing Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. To Mr. Burke, just in regards to process, to me, this seems like we had the delegation here before we broke for council and stuff. It seemed like more of a move towards local improvement or to stop us from improving their neighborhood and stuff. So I don't know if the petition would have actually garnered about 10% of Grande Prairie's population, considering that the population of Mission doesn't even total that. So why did we move forward with the petition? Was it just the residents that brought it forward, or did we have discussions with them about filing a local improvement plan petition?
Mr. Burke?
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. This was brought at the same time at their own initiative, and so I'm required under Section 246 of the Municipal Government Act to consider it as if it were a petition, and so that just triggered an automatic process for me to report back. Saying that, there are other ways to talk with council, and they took that opportunity as well and came as a delegation and raised their concerns in person. I will say there has been other discussions, including myself, with residents of the neighborhood in Mission about some of the work that is going on, and that'll keep continuing as that project continues.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Just looking for someone to do the business arising, recognizing Councillor Berg. Go for it.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. I do have a couple comments. I believe it was Councillor Bressie, the last time that we'd encountered this, had brought up perhaps there's a different vehicle where citizens can bring this type of thing forward as opposed to the MGA type of petition. So a quick question, have we advanced anything on that, or have we made a motion to advance that?
Mr. Burke?
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. So there was a motion to advance, and the direction at the time was for us to update the website to explain a little better the other opportunities to come and discuss issues with council, which this group did take advantage of in coming as a delegation. They also did proceed with the petition, and we have to review it based on the MGA. If they bring it forward, they chose to bring it forward. But I will highlight that they did take advantage of the delegation opportunity and came to council.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, this motion is something that we legally have to do to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll make one more comment, and then I'll be the guy that again is the bad guy and makes the motion. But one of the things, and I talked to a couple of people in the neighborhood too, and one of the things that they don't address in their letter of issues. For us, one of the issues that I heard was from the city standpoint was fire smarting and creating another potential fire break, but also quick access for the fire department to get down into Muskogee Park. As we've heard back when we had fires in the county, if there is a major fire that comes into the city, the only way it's coming into the city is through the Muskogee Park trail system. And so since that time, the city, along with the province and county, have worked diligently to do some fire smarting so that that doesn't happen. We've seen a number of communities in British Columbia devastated. In the past, we've seen Slave Lake, Fort McMurray, Jasper devastated by wildfires that came into their communities, and we're seeing it around the world. And so to me, when I see the list of grievances, I don't discount any of them. However, fire smarting and saving their homes from potential fire to me is very important and should be acknowledged. But I just wanted to make that comment. But again, the motion that I will make and be the bad guy once again, council receive the declaration of insufficiency of petition for information.
Thanks for that, Councillor Berg. That motion is in order. An opportunity for discussion or debate on the motion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. Please vote. And that carries unanimously. Moving on to the second item of business under reports, this one being a couple items for public member appointments. And they are in your package. And first I'll recognize I'll give it to Mr. Burke for introduction, and then I'll go to Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. At a previous meeting, we had discussions about maintaining quorum on the Combative Sports Commission, and reposted and sought community members to submit their applications. We do have one, and are recommending that council appoint Jeremy Gardner to the Combative Sports Commission for a term ending December 31st, 2027.
Thanks for that introduction. I'll now go to Councillor O'Toole.
Yes, I would move that council appoint Jeremy Gardner to the Combative Sports Commission for a term ending December 31st, 2027.
Right, so that motion is in order. Opportunity for discussion, debate. I did have a question, probably best for Ms. Bieberdorf or Mr. Burke. Not that long ago, maybe a year ago, the province announced that they were looking to remove municipalities and other organizations from this role. And I know we talked about it a little while ago. I wondered if there was any update on that. Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. We have had a discussion since then with the province, and while it is still their policy, there is no immediate plans for them to move forward with that. It requires some funding. I will say administration do plan to bring back a report to council here in the very near future, just as a review of our current bylaw. There is it's been probably about a decade since that bylaw was last looked at. We had been planning on with the province and provincial changes and taking that over for them to do that. But as there's no immediate plan for them to do that, it is worth us taking a look at our bylaw and making sure that council are still, or that we're addressing some operational challenges that we're currently seeing, but also just bring it into in line with what council wishes to do in support of competitive sports in the city or in the region. And so there'll be a report and a discussion in the very near term, I would say in the next month to 2 months here.
All right. Thanks for that. Seeing no one else in the queue with questions, discussion, debate, I'll call the question. Please vote.
Berg in favor.
And that carries unanimously. Mr. Burke for the second recommendation.
Thank you again, Mayor Clayton. The Police Commission currently has one vacancy. We have advertised within the community seeking qualified applicants to put their names forward for us to fill that vacancy here in 2026. We had a number of applicants. We have one that certainly met the skills matrix that was required. Our plan is to keep all current applications on file, at least until police of jurisdiction. So there are a number of applicants that have submitted their names who will be receiving an email just explaining that process, that we are not closing it. We only have one vacancy right now, and then recommending council make that one appointment. But those that have submitted in this recent intake will be kept on file should there be another vacancy come open within 2026. But saying that, we recommend that council appoint Ben Sander to the Grande Prairie Police Commission for a 2-year term beginning August 17th, 2026.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And I will recognize Councillor O'Toole again.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. I move the council appoint Ben Sadler to the Grande Prairie Police Commission for a 2-year term beginning August 17th, 2026.
Thanks for that motion. Seeing no one in the queue, I'll call the question. Please vote.
Berg in favor.
And that carries unanimously. All right, moving on today's agenda, there is no committee business as council was on a council break for the first 2 weeks of August. There's no items of correspondence, and we'll move to the delegation portion of the meeting. First, under item 10.1, the Grande Prairie Live Theatre Society. This is an opportunity for council to ask administration questions. First, recognizing Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mark Clayton. Question for Chief Whiteway. And I'll ask a blanket question for the two. Is there a funding source that we have for emergency funding or anything, or where would this come from, potentially?
Ms. Whiteway?
Thank you, through the mayor. Administration's recommendation would be the Financial Stabilization Reserve at this time. We don't have a dedicated funding source for emergency community group funding.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from council? Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. I did see we received some information in our packages. I'm just wondering, has administration seen more information as far as several years' history of financials, appreciate the gentleman and the people who are presenting. We're trying to scramble to give us information, but just wondering if administration's got a full swath of the last couple of years of financials, just to see what kind of picture has been kind of painted the last couple of years.
Ms. Bieberdorf?
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Yes, we do have a number of years of data that we have compiled. Is there something specific that you were looking for?
No, I guess I'm just wondering, like, that's for me, it's not in our packages, so I get worried about doing emergency funding when I don't know the full picture of what the finances look like. So I'm just, if admin has that, it was going to be something I was going to request to ask for. Would we also have the information about, again, we're trying to scramble, but just seeing how much these programs are getting used. Like, I'm just curious about correct program usage, and I'm just thinking back to my time on the library board. We had an awful lot of programs, and when we did a swath around the other provinces, our program usage was, we had so many, it was great, but we were actually not getting high utilization with them because we had so many programs as well. So just wonder if it's a similar scenario.
Ms. Bieberdorf?
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. We don't have that level of detail, but one of the questions that was asked earlier was around the percentage of revenue of ticket sales. I did pull up the 2025 financials. So ticket sale revenue year ending May 31st, 25 was 43%
for a little
overall revenue.
Okay. Thank you for that.
There's some programs in there too, but yeah.
Okay, can I just clarify that? So that's ticket revenue from events, not ticket revenue from producing of tickets.
Correct. The box office revenue was $12,000.
Okay. And so I'm just going to follow up on that. That would include summer camps, everything?
No, that's a separate line. So summer camps was just under 50,000, and then there's a variety of other items like venue rental, donations, lounge, but the grants were 123,000 out of 738.
Also, do you have any numbers on that? So is that, knowing that 43,000 of the live theater's revenue comes from productions, and then there's another 50,000 for camps, is that 10,000 people through the door? Do you have that number?
Yes, 8,000.
So total revenue ballpark, can you give me, Ms. Bieberdorf?
Yeah, 2025 was that's expenses, 738,000.
Great, thank you for that. Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, I'm just curious as to if we were to recommend seeing that Grande Prairie Live Theatre needs the funds now to meet payroll, what would be the source that's recommended for the 25,000 immediate? And then I have a second motion that I'd like to make following this one.
So I'll just clarify the CFO, in regards to the emergency money that they're looking for payroll, would you still recommend the funding be financial stabilization? Okay. So the payroll support, Councillor O'Connor, would be financial stabilization. And if you wanted to go ahead with your second question.
Yes, so my second question is, and I heard Abby mentioned it, and to give Mr. Roper an opportunity to get his feet underneath him, that I'd like to see us talk about a loan that's repayable with agreeable terms. So I'm just wondering if that's a possibility that we could entertain. There's no sense in giving them $25,000 now, and they don't know what their future is going to be. So I think it's important that we take a look at this now.
Okay. So those are your comments?
Well, I'm just saying, can we make that motion to have a loan?
You can make any motion you want.
Well, I'd like to move.
We do have other people in the queue, though.
Okay, I'll wait then.
That'd be great. Thanks. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. Again, with each organization, we've had a track record the last couple of years of being off the rails. So my question for administration, what type of accountability should we give this money to the organizations? What accountability mechanism do we have on an ongoing basis to ensure that this is spent wisely, I guess, and gets them back on the right track, as opposed to, again, I don't want to repeat history. So I guess that's kind of my comment or question to administration.
So I'll turn that over to the CFO or Ms. Bieberdorf in regards to historically the accountability that we have in place for organizations in the annual updating and reporting metrics. And then if there are additional context or expectations that you foresee in this scenario, please feel free to elaborate.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. So currently, everybody that receives community group funding has a number of items that are required for reporting financial statements. And if they receive over 100,000, they come to council and also do a presentation. If they are under 100,000, they just have to do a written accountability report and provide their financial statements. So what we could do if additional funding is granted is add additional terms and conditions, whatever council would like, to a new funding agreement.
Yeah, thank you. Again, I'm just...
Just before you go, can I clarify, though, that's in operational funding, it doesn't include gift in kind, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess for me, I just want to make sure that it's spent in all the right places and appropriately. Thank you.
Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. I've been hearing the big L word around the table. I'm curious for Chief Whiteway, if council wanted to do a loan, what kind of process has to get built around us doing any type of loan?
Ms. Whiteway.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. For a municipality to loan to another organization, the process would have to be the advertisement process and development of a bylaw and that transparency piece with the public. So it couldn't be a decision made at one meeting. It would need to be a future decision with some of those items.
And with mandatory notice, that would take a few months and be quite a bit of work, I'm assuming, from administration. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions for administration? Councillor O'Toole.
If this motion goes through that Councillor O'Connor has made, would that is going to make, would that be for just 1 month to get him out of the basement, or would we need to double that up if it's going to go 2 months before we get everything in place?
I would suggest that, well, let's just see Councillor O'Toole or O'Connor's motion, Councillor O'Toole, because I don't think administration has a recommendation at this point.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Councillor Bressie.
I guess a question for administration. I think what I'm hearing around the table from my colleagues is I've got at least one colleague who I'll strongly support if he makes a motion to make sure we give the operational funding to this organization to make sure they stay open. But then there's also the higher amount of funding needed for long-term sustainability with both organizations. And I think what I'm hearing from my colleagues around the table is wanting confidence that that's going to be money that gets well invested because these organizations turn out to be stable in the long term and where it truly is a one-time funding source that actually creates that long-term impact in the community. But I think the question to administration is I'm also hearing around here my colleagues saying we maybe don't have enough information to make that determination of is this good money after bad or is this a true investment in the future? So what kind of process or what kind of motion would administration recommend council make if it wanted to get more information and it wanted to get that better understanding of long-term viability?
Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. I think that would be worth us. So there's been some new information that I've even learned this evening that was the information I didn't have prior to here. So appreciate the delegations coming in and answering the questions. I think that if there was that direction, as you just suggested, and bringing back some more information, that would be broad enough for us, for the CFO and Ms. Bieberdorf, and also myself to meet with them and better document what this plan is over the next, I would say over the next 6 months and over the next year, about what that plan is. I don't know if there will be much additional from this evening that would be to say this just absolutely satisfies what that is. But I do believe that we could spend a little bit of time and look at what that is and bring that back in short order. Like we can make this the top priority. Appreciate that payroll needs to be met here in the end in the next couple of weeks. So I don't know exactly what that would be. I am committed if that's what the direction is that we can go away and do that and bring that back in short order. If there was something though specific that council had in mind of what do they want to see in that plan, we would take that direction too.
Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. I think where Councillor Bressie was headed with that perhaps we do partial funding based on an emergency basis until we see a more developed and robust plan come before us. that we can fund with full knowledge. But I do value each of these organizations and what they bring to the community. But at the same time, we also have to be stewards of the citizens' money and spend it wisely and ensure it gets spent wisely. And also, we've got 2 new executive directors that are just getting their feet wet, literally one today. So I think we should provide them with a little bit of runway and help develop a plan that they can bring forward. So again, I like where you're headed. I don't have a motion from it, but I just wanted to make that comment.
Councillor Thiessen.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. I'd like to make a comment too. I like the direction. I think I hear the conversation flowing around. And if I'm imagining Councillor O'Connor is going to stick to original potential motion, that would be the 25,000 requested immediate, and then further information to help us, be better stewards in our own fiduciary responsibility to ensure that not only is GPLT viable for the long term and has a good plan that we're confident in, and that's the plan that we're going to invest in. But for now, I think I agree with what I'm hearing around the table is that it's warranted that we grant the additional funds, so I'll wait for the motion.
Recognizing Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Yeah, I'm honestly struggling with this one. I guess for me, for administration, I would love to see the plan come from the groups. I mean, we can throw money at this, but honestly, we can say this is for a month. It might make 30 days, might make 60 days. Like I'm really uncomfortable advancing funding when I don't know if it's just a Band-Aid. And I want to see the organization succeed, but if it's just a Band-Aid for a month to go, here's $30,000, I can't look the community and say that was a great use of money. So I would love to see these 2 organizations come back with a plan, to be honest, that they feel confident they can make work. I can fund a plan if they're coming up with it. I feel like if we're trying to come up with a plan to say, here, we're giving you some money, we're going to get you through it, I think that these 2 groups have a lot of work to do probably, but they would need to come to me with a plan of this is what 30 days looks like, 90 days, and a year. And then those 3 things to me need to be vital, because I think we're naive if we think this is a month problem right now. Like I think this is a longer term problem and we're aware of that, but I don't really feel comfortable funding into something if the long term problem is inevitably just more funding and it doesn't have a plan of how it's ever going to get out of this. And so I got a lot of information today, but I did not get a lot of confidence that I see either one of these 2 organizations getting through this without us doing substantially more funding and ongoing funding. And I need to know that number to be comfortable with that. So for me, I wouldn't be supporting anything today till I had that information, to be honest. So just tip my hand for council.
All right. Thanks for your comments. Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Clayton. And I concur with Councillor Plott, and I also concur with Thiessen. And so I really love how our council kind of helps someone build a motion from nothing. So I appreciate it. So I'd like to move that we approve from the Financial Stabilization Fund for $25,000 for Grande Prairie Live Theatre, with the condition that they come back with a plan, 30, 60, 90 days to look at if there's what their plan is to fill in that amount of money. So you want to make it less complicated, or do you want it just at 25,000? Your call.
Well, the motion is basic in the e-scribe right now. Oh, there we go. Let's just give it a moment while it populates. And so, Councillor O'Connor, is that addressing?
Yep, that works for me.
Okay, so before I go to the CAO, I have a couple people in the queue, and I'll assume your questions are on the motion. Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Just some clarification for administration. As it's worded, it's unclear if the intent is to fund the $25,000 immediately with the condition of something to follow, or is it for the plans to come forward as a condition of flowing the $25,000? I think I know what your intent is, but the motion just isn't clear to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Just to speak to that, I don't know if that's possible within 2 weeks to be able to have them operate without having commitment for the $25,000. So I'm looking and saying, here's the $25,000 now, and come back with a plan to look at any other future endeavors.
The intent of your motion is to fund the $25,000 today, and in order to have a request for any additional funds, they need to come back with a plan within 30 days. I guess my question on your motion is, what do you want that plan to be? Like, what is it built around? Is it built around alternative streams of revenue? What do you want the plan to include so that the live theater is very clear on what you expect?
Well, until Mr. Roper gets his hands around the budget and discusses with his board and comes up with a plan, I don't know what that would look like. So I'm just hoping that we're giving them enough space to be able to come back with something.
So with a plan to be able to continue operations, but it's you're not asking for them to come back with a plan on repaying a further amount of money, anything?
That could be a secondary motion. I think this one just addresses this part. Okay.
All right. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. A couple things around this. I think what Councillor O'Connor's intent might be something similar to a business plan that you have to present to a bank of what your revenue and expenses are projected to be in order to get a loan from the bank. And again, I think we're clear that this isn't a loan, that it is money that we would grant in a roundabout way from the Financial Stabilization Fund. For me, I would like to give the executive director just a little bit more runway, seeing as how it's day one. And so to me, what I had written down was 40,000 and 60 days.
I like the way you think.
Well, sorry. Are you making it? I'm sure
I'll
you
make a
all
friendly
like
amendment for 40,000.
Well, if he wants to accept the friendly.
Yeah.
I will accept that friendly amendment.
Okay. So it changes the conversation, but I'll go to those next in the queue. Councillor Bressie.
Yeah, the timing might work out anyways. Could somebody remind me when the AGM they have planned is?
Ms. Bieberdorf.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. September 20th.
Sorry, I'm just counting 60 days. And kind of where I'm going with this is I don't think it's fair to ask the new board to follow the old board's plan. And so I want to make sure that I need to do the counting now. I want to make sure that I like where we're going with this. I want to make sure that we give the new board enough time to create that plan. Well, presumably Mr. Roper create that plan, but the new board enough time to give guidance on that new plan, get confidence in that new plan. And so that's what's important to me. So I need to do some calendar math, but the 60 days, so I was going to suggest 30 days after the AGM, but the math might work out that it's about the same anyways.
Councillor Thiessen.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. I'm not opposed to this motion for more money. I was prepared to support the $25,000 and split the motion so that we have direction to provide that business plan later, as it seemed like it was trying to cram two motions in one. I haven't seen it repopulate here, but maybe that's just my own refresh on my computer. But I can get behind this. I know that the Grande Prairie Live Theatre presented several plans and opportunities for how they could generate revenue that might tie them over until that 60-day time period is up, as to which time they may need some more money. Then we could be discussing just a budget referral at that point rather than taking it straight out of this. But I think that 60 days is a good time. And $40,000 is a more realistic number to help see them through those 60 days. I don't think it'll get them to the end of it, but I'm very hopeful that their own business plan and bringing in like the theater goers and having the programs run through the theater will help to offset some of their losses, and that they can start working to climb back up to their feet. So I can get behind this motion.
Councillor Platt.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. For me, the way the motion's written, I can't get behind it. And I only can't be behind it because it says a plan within 60 days. And I guess for me, I'm going to go back to that. Here's 40,000. They come with us in a plan in 60 days and say, we can't make this work. We're trying to make it work and we need another 100,000. And I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do, here's a limp along. And so I hope them all the best. But for me, unless there's going to be something around a path to financial stability on that, within that plan, then I don't know why we'd fund that, to be honest, as a group. Like if we're funding a plan potentially right now that could just be, here's $40,000, and the plan just could be it's more and more and more. And I just don't like the precedence that sets, to be honest. I appreciate the emergency and it's coming in, but I don't like that we're actually adding money to what they've asked for, and we don't really have a lot of parameters around what we expect from them. And so I can't support it.
Let's jump in the queue here. I too can't support this motion. It's way too arbitrary for me. If you were to come and say that this is what we need to bare minimum payroll, and we need 6 weeks, and we had defined terms and defined money, and that they came back with a plan, I'd be more comfortable funding that, that wage gap, in the sense that you came back with a plan. But to come back with, to Councillor Platt's point, you come back in 60 days and say the plan is that you give us another 75,000. That's not a plan in my mind. So I can't, as the motion is currently worded, I can't support it. Councillor Bressie.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm struggling for a little bit of the same reasons, but overall, at the end of the day, I think that this is an organization that's got decades of legacy in our community, and I am confident it's going to have decades of legacy to come. This is kind of a nonprofit cycle you often see, where you have the rise, the fall, and hopefully the rise again. And I sure want to see the rise again, both because of the good work I know this organization could do, but also the pure pragmatics of it. All of a sudden, that's a facility the city owns that either we're paying to keep empty or we're paying a lot more to operate ourselves. And I really don't want to see it go that way. And so for me, I think it is worth investing some money to get this organization a chance to go through its next board election, get its new executive director, who does seem to have the appropriate experience under his feet and going. One thing I would point out is the numbers I heard was about a $160,000 hole in revenue, and we're looking at only an $85,000 gap. So what that shows me is this organization has done significant work in expense control. This organization has done significant work in solving its problems, making significant ground since they went through those hits to its budget. And so I want to let them keep on doing that, and I want to give them time to look at the revenue side of their balance sheet and start working on that as well. And so for me, I do think it's important that we're giving some of this emergency funding, and we're giving it immediately, because I don't see how, if you can't make payroll, you even have a chance to make that plan and do the next phase. So I hope that council will support either this motion or a motion quite like it.
All right, so I see no one else in the queue. Oh, Councillor Berg.
Yeah, just one word. When I look at this, council approve funding in the amount of, it doesn't say immediate. There's no timeline on when that would be paid.
Councillor O'Connor, did you want to add?
Yes, I think we should add to council approved funding in the amount of $40,000 immediately to the Grande Prairie Live Theatre Society to be funded from the Financial Stabilization Reserve, with the condition that they come back with a plan within 60 days.
Okay, so I'll take that friendly addition of that word, and I have no one else in the queue, so I'm going to call Councillor O'Connor, would you like to close on your motion?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, Mr. Burke.
I appreciate the intent. I'll just explain our typical process for any funding is to have a contribution agreement. We already have one with the Live Theatre. Is there interest in us signing even or amending the current contribution agreement as opposed to us issuing a check here tonight? So I'm just more of a practical sense on our term. We traditionally don't send money without any agreement. I think this is a fairly quick agreement, and we already have a template in place.
I think Councillor O'Connor's intent is that this is a one-time funding agreement. If you're asking for it to be recognized in the operating contribution, that's
it was more just by this motion. There's no requirement for anything. It's just issue a check, and if that's the intent,
that's exactly my point. And I'm not going to debate you on this, but that was my point of why I don't support this motion. So
I just was explaining the current process.
So Councillor O'Connor, the concern the CIO has is that your intent is that this money has no obligation for reporting metrics, etc. It's quite arbitrary. So if you'd like your motion to stand, that's fine. If you'd like to withdraw your motion and try to work with some of your colleagues to start over. But I'm getting really close to calling the question because I do have Councillor Bressie in the queue again and Councillor Berg in the queue. So I will open a discussion and debate for a little bit more, give Councillor O'Connor a moment to think about this. Councillor Bressie.
I was going to suggest how to amend it, but do you want me just to wait and see if it, I don't.
Well, no, I think that it's best you suggest an amendment.
Okay. With the condition that they come back with a plan.
So are you making a motion to amend?
I can make a motion or it can be taken.
I just have accepted enough friendlies for a while. So.
Okay. So then I would move that we amend the motion to add on to the end, and the organization signs a funding agreement satisfactory to the city manager and city solicitor.
I guess my question then would be to the CAO, you and the city solicitor are going to turn around this in a timely manner that meets the needs of the live theatre, because this appears quite emergent.
I'm confident in saying that, as we already have a template contribution agreement in place that we can utilize. So yes.
Okay. So I will accept Councillor Bressie's amendment. If you just want to check it, Councillor Bressie, to make sure that it's. All right. So discussion or debate on the amendment recognizing Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Here we go again. So I guess it's satisfactory if they come back and it's going to be $100,000 shortfall. Is that going to be satisfactory? I mean, I know we're wordsmithing this and we're trying to find something with it, but if I read that, and I guess it's interpretation of what's satisfactory to the city manager.
I think that the agreement is satisfactory, which he already has a sample of.
Okay, not
thanks, Mayor Clayton. Just satisfactory regarding the 40,000. So we do have terms we use for all groups that have some reporting metrics. These are really standard templated agreements. I think it would be worthwhile having one and not just be immediate, but this isn't an onerous exercise, and this isn't something we haven't actually even asked them to do previously, as we have existing agreements in place.
Yep.
All right. Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. Sorry, Councillor Bressie, do you have anything to close? I'll call the question on the amendment. And that's carried 8-1. Now we're going to discuss and debate the motion as amended. An opportunity for council. I will open the queue. Please have discussion or debate on the motion. Seeing none, Councillor O'Connor, do you wish to close?
Please vote in favor.
I'll call the question on the motion. Please vote. And that's carried 77-2. Moving on to item 10.2, the Center for Creative Arts Society. Opportunity for questions for administration. Open this up now if you have questions for administration. If not, I'd be looking for business arising. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thank you. I'll keep it short. I'll work to make the exact same motion with the same conditions. Council approve funding in the amount of $40,000 immediately to the Center for Creative Arts to be funded from the Financial Stabilization Reserve, with a condition that they come back with a plan within 60 days and the organization signs a funding agreement satisfactory to the city manager and city solicitor. Again, one of my concerns around this might be the AGM that's coming up in early October and a possible change in direction. So again, I recognize that it's an emergency situation and they need to get through these next few days, but I would like to see the outcome of that AGM, and it might be positive and some fresh, new, strong people come in, and I would encourage the Center for Creative Arts to get out in the community and find some excellent board members that the community can get behind. So again, the exact same motion for this one as well.
Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. Is that AGM already scheduled? Do we know?
Ms. Beaverdorf?
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Their plan is for October 1st.
I would I'm happy to make a hostile amendment, I guess, but
you want to do 30 days after?
Yeah, 30 days after the AGM.
I'll accept that.
Okay. Mr. Burke?
just want to just offer an observation. The AGM would be outside of our control when it's officially called. So is that something that council's comfortable with, that it's 30 days whenever it's called, even though it's October 1st, or?
I'll send it to Mark.
Or we could do it October 31st too. Sounds like a spooky date. Yeah. Okay.
I don't see anyone else in the queue. This one I definitely can't support. The emergent need that was recognized by the theater was for payroll. This one is a funding request because of the fact that they're worried about the last quarter of the calendar year. There's the long-term financial stability of this organization needs a plan, and I recognize that there's a new CEO, and I understand the concerns, but there's just too much missing information at this point to come forward with an arbitrary $40,000 for me to support the motion. Recognizing Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. I can't support this one either. I did struggle with not supporting the last one because I do know there's a gap there. Unfortunately, with this one, what I see is there's a lot of stuff that this organization provides, but it's being provided in the community in other areas too. And so I have a hard time sometimes thinking, are we spending this much money propping up something that is competing with private? There's other organizations doing a lot of these similar programs, and so now we're going to try to fund another organization even more, and I'm struggling with that in our community, not just with this, with a lot of things where we start making the funding gap so wide that we're not letting private compete with us because we're funding ourselves so high. So I can't support anything further this. I'd like to actually see more other information, but come back with us at another meeting, and I'll probably look at for a subsequent motion after that for myself. But I just can't support this at this point.
Councillor Flack.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. I agree with your comments and yours too, Councillor Plott. I do struggle with funding something that's, I agree with you, Mayor Clayton and Councillor Plott.
Thanks for your comments, Councillor Thiessen.
Yeah, this one was a tough one for me because the Centre for Creative Arts is fairly near and dear to my heart. So I think I've gone to bat for the Centre countless times over the years. When different arrangements and agreements with the city had been changed overnight, and they were privy to finding out about it the next day. And I've been that loud gong on council for the Centre for Creative Arts. I guess where I'm really struggling against myself to support this is I guess knowing that charitable status isn't there right now. And it's one thing if they just lost the charitable status, but the charitable status disappeared a year ago almost now. And so now they're struggling to receive funds from private, to receive funds from other levels of government organizations. There's so many rumors around the building. I just want to stick to what we have here at the moment. And I guess my uncomfortability with it is I really think that if we, as a board, as somebody who sits on lots of boards, this itself is a board, if I understood that we had lost our charitable status a year ago, I would have undertaken the steps immediately to rectify that situation. But instead we're sitting here 12 months later, 6 months after the loss of their last executive director, and we're almost got the charitable status back. Well, I want to see that charitable status come back. I want to see the AGM happen. I want to see people have the opportunity to participate in the arts through the Centre, which I think is a jewel in the heart of our city. But it's hard for me to reach into the city's purse strings when I didn't really hear a solid plan. It was one thing to hear the Live Theatre come in, and they had lots of plans about how they could make that money back. And I think the Centre is currently trying to find its legs at the moment, which means that would be a risky loan. And as much as I want to see the Centre thrive and survive and grow, maybe not receiving the funds is the kick in the right direction that it needs to be able to generate the interest and the support. And when they have their charitable status returned, then I can feel good with a clean conscience that we're doing this for the organization that is a charitable status. Councillor Platt said Centre for Creative Arts is competing with private, but without charitable status, Centre for Creative Arts is private. And so we don't typically give funds out to private organizations. And so that's why this vote is going to be extremely hard for me. And I don't know if I can support the motion for funding it at this time. I'd like to see changes to the positive happen for the Centre for Creative Arts, and I'd like to see them continue to be that jewel in the center of our city. But at this time, I just don't have it in good conscience to be able to vote yes in regards to this. So thank you all.
Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. I think for me, again, an argument beyond just value this organization does is I don't know what goes on with this building if that nonprofit isn't around anymore, and I want to see it stable. But again, I'd share the mayor's comments about doesn't seem as urgent as the last one. So for me, I'd like to see that plan and then make a decision rather than fund up front. So apologies, Councillor Berg, I can't support this motion, but that's not because I'm not open to funding this organization, just not immediately today.
Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Clayton. And I also, having difficulty is not as emergent as Grande Prairie Live Theatre. What concerns me is that the granting I'd like to see the granting in before we take a look at any plan and allow them to come back with a plan that says, here's where we'd like to go, here's what we have done to mitigate the situation. And until that's fixed, I can't support this motion.
Councillor O'Toole.
Yeah, I guess I feel exactly the same way. I truly believe that this is the Center of Creative Arts is great, but we have our budget in November, and if you can come back before budget, I may change my mind with a plan, and that plan includes board member training. And with that, I won't be supporting this motion. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no one else in the queue, Councillor Berg to close.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. And Councillor Bressie did take some of my clothes. With the facility, and if we don't prop it up, and they do, the board does decide that it's time to close, then what do we do with that? I see the value that the Center for Creative Arts brings to the community and has always brought to the community. It's something that I've always been engaged with, and I see value. And Councillor Thiessen also touched on one of my metaphors where he said, you know, it's trying to find its legs, and absolutely the organization is tripped, and they're hurting right now. But I don't think that the legs are broken, but I think we absolutely need to see what a plan is going forward, and is it sustainable? And I'm confident that it can be because it has been. But I think in defense of the two presenters, I think if you were to ask them, they would actually probably nod their head and say that this is an emergency, and it is emergent, and they do need funding immediately, and they can't wait till January 1st. So the sentiment around the table doesn't seem to be supportive, but it's something that I'm supportive of, and just see it through a different lens.
All right. Thanks for the close. Councillor Berg, call the question. And that is defeated 3-6. Now I will, okay, go ahead, Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. I would move that council requests the organization to present a plan within 30 days of its AGM outlining, I'll just leave it at a plan. That was the last one. I think people know what we mean by that. But yeah, just asking the organization, bring us back some more numbers, probably work with administration to make sure that they're confident that that they understand what those numbers are, and give us what we need so we can reconsider this.
Okay. All right. Comments or questions, discussion, debate on the motion. Recognizing Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Happy to support this one. I just want to make a note that I did vote wrong on the last one.
That you what? Sorry, I
I
missed.
voted wrong on the last one. It was not in support.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. Yeah, of course I'll support this because one of the trepidations that I did have is at that AGM, we don't know what direction it'll take or who's going to be in charge. And again, social media a couple months back was social mediating, and it wasn't pleasant. And so to me, one of the concerns that I have is the direction of the board after that AGM. So I absolutely accept this and trust that the current board can get them to that AGM and come up with a qualified plan following that AGM.
I guess my only question would be, do you have any parameters around your expectation of the plan? Is the plan to come back and say, every year we need you to double our operational contribution? Is the plan to say, like, what are you hoping to see from the plan?
And I guess not dissimilar to what it was last time. I would love to see what's a business case, what's a cash flow look like, and I'm looking for what's the realistic amount that the city needs to fund this so that it is sustainable. I don't expect it to necessarily come back with here's our plan to get $0 from the city, or maybe it's not even a plan to. I just want to know. I want a plan that tells me confidently if the city spends X amount of money, whatever the ask ends up after that, that truly is the amount that the city will have to fund in order to keep this organization viable. So it's basically a business plan and cash flow is really what I'm looking for.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no one else, do you wish to close, Councillor Bressie? Call the question. Please vote. Sorry. Councillor Auger is in favor. Just so you know, I need record so that it's like I can't just have a hand. I need you to either get on a mic or something so that it's. Thank you. All right, that carries unanimously. Moving on, today's agenda, there are no notices of motion. There's no recess. I'm now going to go to council member reports, and I'm going to start with Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. I'll just do a couple quick ones. I think most of us are at Bear Creek. Just want to say, well done again. Great events. Love seeing the hill busy like that. It's always one of my favorite events of the year. The other one that I went to that I thought was interesting was the ATB had their board of directors in Grande Prairie. I think Mayor Clayton was there as well. Which I appreciated that they brought up to Grande Prairie with their board of directors, and they brought a contingency of their senior staff up to have their AGM here or with their board retreat. But very optimistic on our region, and it was nice to hear from a banking perspective just how optimistic they are on Grande Prairie and our region in the next few years. So, thanks, Mayor Clayton.
Great, thanks for that, Councillor Flack.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. A couple of things. I was able to do the opening remarks for the Grande Prairie Regional Air Show, which was awesome. I brought my dad up here, and he got to see that, and that was pretty cool. And I think they had 8,000 people attend over 2 days. It was awesome to see the snowbirds do their thing and all those planes. It was really, really cool. I also received the STARS Recognition Award with the Grande Prairie Airport Commission. And I learned there that, STARS is celebrating 20 years in partnership with Grande Prairie Airport. And I learned that this airport is the only airport to waive fees for STARS to land, which was really cool to hear. So I'm glad we do that. And I also attended a tourism workshop in Sexsmith about a week ago. And just kind of went over, there was other municipal leaders there and community members, and we just kind of talked about, they asked us some questions about tourism, how we viewed it, and how maybe, what kind of ideas we had about, I snapped my pen. About just how tourism is marketed in our area and how we could be better at bringing people out here. So, that's my update.
Great, thanks for that. Councillor Berg.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. I did 2 road trips around the province. In between that, I did enjoy some of the sights and sounds of the city with the Bear Creek Folk Fest, the air show, 2 wonderful events that the city contributed to. And then just kind of getting back to work, I, along with Councillor Thiessen and Councillor O'Connor, attended the flag raising for the Pakistan Independence Day. And always a wonderful event, and that was down at Muskogee Park, so just appreciate that. And that's my quick and easy report.
Great, thanks for that, Councillor Berg. Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. I had a number of events that I went to. Attended airport online meeting. Went to the India flag raising with Councillor O'Toole. And went to the Pakistan Independence and the Bear Creek Folk Fest. And I played security on the air show lines. And I was tough as nails. Anyway, thank you.
Thanks for that. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. Start off, I attended the International Day of Peoples with Disabilities Provincial Planning Committee. That was a Zoom meeting. I attended 3 Rotary bus tours. I attended the Accessibility Advisory Committee. The air show was 2 years of planning. It took 3 days for it to go through. I don't know the numbers quite yet because there was some stuff happened just before the air show, and we had to take a little bit of a break on the planning side, but the numbers are looking good this year. I was at the opening of the White Lotus Massage Therapy. I attended Bear Creek Folk Festival, and I got to tell you, that was probably one of the finest festivals that they put on. I really appreciated all the artists, and it was good, very good. I attended the flag raising at for India and the Grande Prairie Discovery Grande Prairie Education Program. Me and Councillor O'Connor did a session here at City Hall. This program is designed by the city staff to fit in with the school programs and Alberta education. Nighthawk, we are working very hard to get the hill back into shape, both on the bike trails as well as doing repairs to some of the snowmaking equipment and snow removal and moving it around the equipment. And this is revenue that many individuals from around the Peace Country come to Nighthawk to ride trails, eat meals, and create friendships. And there's a weekly group come in from Dawson Creek. And with that, that was my report.
Thanks for that, Councillor O'Toole. Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. I had the privilege, I guess, to give greetings on behalf of the City of Grande Prairie for the Chariot Festival and the Hindu Association of Grande Prairie. It was an honor being, I guess I was the only member of council there, and then to take part in the procession of the parade all the way up to Muskosipi Park and then the Heritage Days that followed. It really was a great day. And thanks to all the organizers of the Hindu Association, the different multicultural associations, and our own city organizational staff for putting together such a fun and friendly, all-inclusive day down in Muskosipi Park. That was glorious. Now that was before we broke for council, and then since council, I had the all-esteemed privilege of giving greetings on behalf of the mayor for the India flag raising here at City Hall with Councillors O'Connor and O'Toole in attendance, and then went down to Muskosipi Park to watch Councillor O'Connor give greetings with Councillor Berg and myself in attendance for the Pakistan Independence Day down in Muskosipi Park. And of course, if you're anything Grande Prairie and you love what Grande Prairie puts out there, the Bear Creek Folk Festival is one of those things that I just love seeing what Grande Prairie puts out there. And I truly enjoyed my 3 days, which I literally got to spend pretty much every single hour down at the festival grounds with my family and friends and other people who had returned to Grande Prairie. What a wonderful event. Topped off with the cherry on top of Tennille Towns joining the War and Treaty after she had just recorded a brand new song with them at our very own Northwest Polytechnic studio there with Arjun Roy. Really, really a great thing because we're talking about Grammy-winning artists who recorded in our own Polytechnic, which is really cool, with the lady that opens us up for City Council with O Canada every single time we have one of these meetings to Neiltown. So such a true treat to be a part of that and to take in all the great weather events. And this was one of, I think, only 2 Bear Creek Folk Festivals that had pretty much perfect weather for the whole entire weekend. And I'm not even counting the 15 minutes of rain that we got near the end of the show on Sunday night. But it truly was glorious. And I'd like to thank all the volunteers, the organizers like Sarah Card, the sponsors, and especially the people that come out to support the event year over year over year. It truly is a world-class festival that helps put us on the map for as a showcase for all to come to and enjoy this great city that we all know and live in here in Grande Prairie. Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton.
Thanks for that, Chris. Appreciate it. Councillor Auger.
Thank you. Oh, mine's going to be short and sweet. I was gone most of the time, pretty well 13 days in Newfoundland and Labrador. And I did get to visit the St. John's City Hall, which was a big cement block. Literally, it was. And we got to tour around in the building, but other than that, we didn't meet any mayor or any councillors. I really haven't done anything City Hall related, council related. I did go to a supper last night, and it was great, hosted by our mayor and Rob. And I'd like to thank him for putting that great supper on. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being there. Councillor Bressy.
Great. Well, thank you, Mayor Clayton. Over council break, I wouldn't say I took any sort of break, but I took a break from council. And so don't have a lot to report other than I also got to go to the air show with my son, and I got to go to the Folk Fest with my entire family. And holy smokes, does Grande Prairie have amazing volunteers who do amazing things as volunteers. So I know that we dealt with some of the challenging sides of having nonprofit societies that are such a vibrant part of our fabric. But I also think that the reason that we have challenges with nonprofits is we have so many of them here, and they take on such big, ambitious things here. So I'm very thankful to all the sponsors and all the volunteers that make these amazing events happen.
Great. Thanks for that, Councillor Bressy. All right. I don't have a lot other than was already mentioned. I did want to echo the comments from Councillor Plott in regards to ATB coming to Grande Prairie as a board and hosting their meetings here. It was a great opportunity for them to get to see the value of this region. And so I thought the conversation that night was really good. And it's nice to hear when other people are talking about the great opportunities in this region. So I thought it was a good event. And as always, it was good to get people together because in the summer people are busy and you don't always get to see everyone. I did attend, if you recall, I'm part of a regional health advisory committee, and through that process, we've been getting updates from each of the pillars within the new healthcare format. Recently had a meeting, an update from the Acute Care Alberta. It was an introduction for the Regional Healthcare Committee to sort of understand how things were going in that transition and what that was looking like. I also had a Mid-Sized City Mayor's General Caucus meeting, as well as as the vice chair, myself and the chair, Mayor Acker, had a meeting with MLA Lunty this morning, who is our Alberta Caucus representative, and also had a Mid-Sized City Mayor's Summit meeting. So lots of work happening at the Mid-Sized City meeting or Mid-Sized City Caucus organization over the last few weeks. And same thing, wanted to echo the Bear Creek Folk Fest volunteers and sponsors, and the crowds were great, and the people were great that attended it. A ton of work goes into it, so kudos to the entire team from the Bear Creek Folk Fest. Just think it's an event that we need to be proud of, and it continues to grow, and so congratulations to them, and congratulations to the artists, to Neil Towns, as well as mentioned by Councillor Thiessen, Warren Treaty. What a cool thing to say, recorded in Grande Prairie, presented live the first time in Grande Prairie. So with that, I'll end the meeting, and I will see you all again soon. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.